What if I told you that silence isn't weakness, it's power? We live in a world addicted to noise. Everyone's shouting, proving, posting, performing. People measure influence by who speaks the loudest, who posts the most, who reacts the quickest. But here's the truth, the strongest people are often the quietest, because silence is more than the absence of sound. It's the presence of strength, discipline, and clarity. In this video, I'll show you 5 powerful ways silence builds strength. And at the end, I'll share a 7-day silence challenge that could completely reset your mindset, your energy, and even the way people see you. So let's begin. 1, silence builds self-control. Noise is often a reaction. Anger, gossip, defensiveness, or endless explanations. But silence requires discipline. Think about it. When someone insults you, your first instinct is to fire back, to defend yourself, to prove them wrong. But when you stay silent, you've already won. Why? Because you've proven that your emotions don't control you. You control them. Self-control is one of the greatest forms of strength. Anyone can yell. Anyone can argue. Anyone can defend. But very few can stay calm, centered, and quiet when provoked. There's an old saying, a lion doesn't turn when a small dog barks. That's what silence is. It's the ability to stand tall without reacting to every little thing around you. History shows us this too. Leaders like Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, or even Marcus Aurelius in Roman times, these were people who understood restraint. They weren't quick to noise, they were quick to reflection. And that made their voices, when they finally spoke, infinitely more powerful. Here's the benefit silence builds: mastery over self. It gives you the ability to pause, to think, to respond with intention instead of reacting with impulse. And this leads to the next point, because silence doesn't just give you control over emotions, it also gives you control over your mind. 2, silence creates clarity. Noise clutters the mind. Silence clears it. Every day we're surrounded by voices, opinions, headlines, notifications. Everyone wants your attention, and the result is mental chaos. When your mind is loud, your decisions become reactive. But when you create silence, you create space. That's where clarity is born. Some of the greatest thinkers and creators in history sought silence intentionally. Nikola Tesla used long walks in silence to spark ideas. Steve Jobs practiced meditation in silent retreats. Writers, poets, philosophers, they all understood that wisdom doesn't come from noise, it comes from stillness. Think of it like muddy water. If you stir it, it's cloudy. But if you let it sit in silence, it clears and you can see through it. The same is true with your mind. When you step away from endless talking, arguing, or scrawling, you can finally hear your own voice. You can reflect. You can plan. You can see the bigger picture. Here's the benefit: clarity turns confusion into direction. And with direction, your strength multiplies. But silence doesn't just make you think clearer, it also helps you protect something even more valuable: your energy. 3, silence protects your energy. Noise isn't just sound. Noise is drama. Noise is gossip. Noise is endless explaining to people who don't even want to understand you. And all of that drains energy. Every time you argue, over-explain, or get pulled into noise, you lose focus. You lose momentum. You lose energy that could have been invested in your goals, your growth, your dreams. Silence is a shield. It protects your energy for the battles that actually matter. Think of athletes before a big game. Do they waste energy arguing with fans in the stands? No, they conserve it. They stay focused. They channel everything into performance. That's exactly what silence allows you to do in life. When you don't feel the need to justify yourself, when you don't get pulled into every debate, when you don't give attention to distractions, you conserve power, and power conserved is power multiplied. Here's the benefit: silence helps you channel energy into progress, not noise. And this doesn't just change how you feel, it changes how others see you. Which brings us to the next point. 4, silence commands respect. Have you ever noticed that the loudest person in the room is rarely the one with the most influence? Loudness often signals insecurity, but silence carries presence. When you speak less, your words carry more weight. People lean in to listen because they know you don't speak to fill space, you speak with purpose. Think about great leaders. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't need to shout all the time. He spoke calmly, powerfully, and with conviction. The Dalai Lama, known for his gentle tone, commands respect globally. Even in everyday life, the person who listens more than they talk is usually the one people trust. Silence commands respect because it's rare. In a noisy world, restraint is magnetic. It signals strength, confidence, and authority. Here's the benefit: silence gives you influence without effort. People respect those who don't need constant validation. And this leads to the deepest transformation of all, because silence isn't just about others, it's about you. 5, silence accelerates growth. In silence, you learn, you observe, you reflect, you grow. When you stop filling the air with words, you create space to absorb knowledge. You hear what others miss. You notice what others ignore. You reflect on your experiences, and from that reflection comes wisdom. Growth doesn't happen when you're constantly talking, posting, or proving. Growth happens when you listen, when you focus, when you discipline yourself to build quietly. Think about it. A seed grows underground in silence before it ever becomes a tree. A student studies quietly for years before becoming a master. A business develops in the shadows before it launches to the world. That's why the quieter you become, the stronger you get, because silence isn't emptiness. It's the environment where strength, discipline, and greatness are built. Here's the benefit. Silence is the foundation of mastery and transformation. Final challenge now. Here's your 7-day silence challenge. For the next week, spend 30 minutes each day in complete silence. No phone, no music, no TV, no noise. Just you and your thoughts. Use this time to reflect, to journal, to plan, or simply to sit still. At first, it will feel uncomfortable because silence forces you to face yourself, but stay with it. By the end of the week, you'll notice your mind is calmer, your focus sharper, your energy stronger. You'll notice that silence isn't empty. It's full of power. This simple challenge can reset your mindset, give you self-control, clarity, and a deep sense of inner strength that noise could never give. Now I want to hear from you. What's one area in your life where silence could make you stronger? Share it in the comments because your reflection might inspire someone else. And if this video gave you a new perspective, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and share this with someone who needs to discover the power of silence. Remember this, the quieter you become, the stronger you get.